the map and be very happy with it, I suspect. But let's head into game order up against Athletico. We're starting this one off on Lijiang Tower, a first to 3 semi-final. The winner up against the Drop Bears this afternoon. The loser is eliminated.
And oh baby, we start with a pause.
Which does give me a little bit of time to sort of say here.
I'm so ready.
One thing that you have to remember here is because we do have Athletico coming in as a bit of a underdog, if they actually take a map somewhere in, if they take map 1, they take map 2, somewhere along the lines, the confidence factor will be there. That is very important because then they know we can beat Order. We can take maps off Order. They are beatable. They are in a position where they can lose. And Order may start questioning themselves as well. What's going on here? We are expecting a 3-0. If we lose a map, things might get a bit dicey.
And speaking of that as well, we did actually see before the pause came out, our first stage of Lijiang Tower is going to be on Control Center. Again, I think that's really important. I want to go back to what I said on the desk a moment ago about this being a bit of a litmus test with the GOATs versus GOATs. We're going to see GOATs on all 3 stages here if we go to them for what it's worth, but Control Center is like the GOATsiest of them all, right? I think if Athletico get the upset even just on this stage, that could really spin Order out.
The other thing is, if Athletico cannot face the caliber of this 3-3 GOATs comp from Orders that Order are bringing, things are not going to look very good. Athletico, I'm not expecting to be pulling too many flicks.
And they're just straight out going to brawl on the point. No high ground maneuvers by either team. They just want to go flat against one another. Just seeing there's the forward movement now from Quad.
Look at the damage. Gob's low.
Exactly. That's the ideal member for them to at least muscle off the point. This gives Order a lot more area control, despite there not being picks.
That's about the area right now. How much can you stop Athletico? But they're going to fight first.
Nice catch out from Quads, who hadn't quite reset himself. They wanted to force even more distance, even more ground, and Athletico see an opportunity. They pounce, and they're actually going to win the opening skirmish to get the point.
And winning that neutral fight as well, that opening fight of the game, means now Athletico do have a bit of an ultimate advantage coming in. Eevee's nearly onto her sound barrier. Money's already got that transcendence. The defensive ultimates are there. It's going to come down to Order. Can they match?
Jordation is the only one leading an ult charge right now on the side of Order. They really need to rely on that. And they will be able to combo it up with a self-destruct from Adam. They've made the approach now, still waiting on those cooldowns. Athletico coming up on their ultimates now, just looking for the opportunity to throw them out. They're actually going to have to start things off with a Transcendence here out of Merit. Getting aggressive now to the point. Double grab that Jordation has. Double self-destruct. Adam's the one who gets the mileage. Eevee's going to fall over.
Oh, it's a big one.
It's a late shatter, but a big shatter. Good counter with the sound barrier, though, from Unter. And Order not out of this just yet, especially with God going down. Now Order want to push back in, take that ground that just got opened up. Jordation pops his counterpart, and with that, Athletico are going to ultimately crumble. Order should be getting control of this point in just a second.
And this is where Athletico are a little bit too patient. They have the patience in that opening skirmish, that neutral fight that won them eventually when they found the picks. This time around, they actually had ultimate advantage to play with. It was a very slight one, which means if you wait too long, Jordation's going to get grabbed. He lands that grab, and suddenly Athletico are down on members. Gob lands a nice counter shatter, but by then, Athletico do not have the firepower to clean up the kills to then continue capping.
Oh, that's such a critical Earth Shatter. 3 flat on the backs, charging on Gob, and he is donezo. Good counter onto Quads, but they don't quite finish him off. That was really critical for Order, because they were actually still waiting on Merit there. Athletico had a numbers advantage until that grab.
The good news is Athletico do back out with most of their members. It's not a big loss. They lose a bit of time, a little bit of progress here as well, but they do not get team wiped. They do not feed a bunch of ults on the other side. Here's that grab we're waiting for, though.
Self-destruct lane in, going to be a tough one to block, especially with God down. Still doesn't actually get any kills, but still, God went down. That's still a critical death. And with that, Order are going to complete that fight win. They've really set up a good spawn cap.
And what was a good disengage before? Can't say that the second time around. Athletico completely caught out now. Graviton Surge by Jordation. Second time around, just as effective as the first full team wipe. Athletico, can they get a shatter?
Oh, unfortunately, no, they cannot. And even if they did, that's a tough area to try and follow it up through that little doorway. And now Athletico kind of struggling to fight their way in. Gob. Self-destruct layered in, nicely placed, but not going to get the kills. Now they're just trying to muscle Order out, and Turmo goes down as they make that move. Now the counter shatter from Gob, or rather additional shatter, doesn't quite get mileage once again, and they're just struggling to break this hold here, even with ultimates.
And that's the thing, because Quats used the shadow. We're waiting to see if God can make that perfect play as well. USMC layered the Graviton Surge in there beforehand, and for Athletico, still stuck at the base, still stuck at the spawn. They are unable to leave the choke point as we are now losing progress on their board. Order reaching 90%, threatening that overtime. Athletico going to make the flank play around instead.
And I think this is smart. When they're fought on the court, they have looked better, but nice catch in the rotation. Countered by the Transcendence, but Gob's still taking some pain. They are forced to use Sound Barrier as well. Order now have deeper pockets for this ensuing fight. Athletico just trying to force them back. Nice shatter from Quats and the Sound Barrier to keep him safe. He was getting a little low there, and now that they've been able to keep him in the fight, he pays that one back. 3 for Quats, in fact, now looking to maybe pick up a few more. Wants to make it the full 6. Some of them go the way of Yuki, but it doesn't matter. Point being, fight goes the way of Order, and relatively comfortably so.
100 to 53, and what we can say from that is Athletico have the opportunity to get something on the board. They have the opportunity to still win some fights. However, once they actually lost that point, what we did see from Order is business as usual in the lead, completely spawn camping Athletico, not allowing them to play the game. Any ults that Athletico had, any potential to break through and get back onto the point, completely shut down.
That was a bit tough as well. Athletico did better when they fought on the point. They really struggled in that more asymmetric spawn camp that Order set up, to the point where they were losing fights when they had an ultimate advantage. I like the rotation to go back to the point, but unfortunately it was a bit too late and they were still behind in ultimates. Let's see if they can change that tune on Night Market.
And it has to be in the neutral fight again. In this opening skirmish between the teams, Athletico had that advantage. If they can find the picks again, if they can find that early slight lead, that's how they can win. But unfortunately, if Order gets ahead, I see Order closing this one out.
A little bit of an early charge advantage for Money, just a slight one, but hey, rotation from Athletico, they get cut off, and now Money's having to make a big maneuver back around, and in that time, USMC gets popped in what is effectively a 6 versus 5, no counter trades, and nice catch by Order to stop Atletico's rotation as it was underway.
And now we have to look at Atletico's comeback game, because for Order, they were the ones behind on Control Center, and they did a fantastic job of that. Recapped it, finished the map, no mistakes. This time around, Athletico, they are behind from the get-go. They'd have no buffer to play with. They have no extra progress. They are now also going to be behind in ults.
Yeah, that's the real difference here. On Control Center, they at least had that lead. Now they don't. We're going to see how they can play from behind.
What's ready with the Shatter as well? First ultimate of the game. Hunter's waiting to see if he can maybe get a boot on somebody like Gob. Just lodge that shield and Quat's ready to go.
There's the move down. The second Gob starts moving, they throw the damage, but they find out Yuki in the rotation. That's a real big opportunity for Athletico. Order's still doing a good job of forcing Athletico back. They're not going to let them have a free 5 versus 6. And now
Order's waiting too long, though.
It's taking a while, and Athletico will start coming up on ultimates if Order continue to not commit. Finally, they throw out the grab. Nice shadows.
Gob first.
Self-destruct in front of the shield, but still a 1-for-1 now. Zone finding out Quads. That's the big pick there, and USMC pays one back on Jornation. Athletico have actually broken it through. Order waiting a fraction of a hair too long on ultimates and giving Athletico an opportunity.
And that has to be exactly the type of situation you need to see Athletico winning in, when they're not so much favored to win that fight. They come in at a deficit. Quads has the first ultimate of the game, could not find the shatter. Order far too patient. The original game plan, waiting to see if Hunter can get a bit of dislodging against Athletico, did not work out for the team. They lost Yuki 5 versus 6. Order could still not find the play. Jornation goes for the grab, does not clean up Athletico this time around, and then Gob says, I've had enough, time to win.
And Athletico actually still hold on to an ultimate advantage here. We'll be looking to commit this grab for too long. Nicely angled in. Quad's already down before that fight breaks out in earnest for the self-destruct. Doesn't quite get the kills.
A lot of damage though.
Sound barrier, and that's the thing. The kills are coming through just from the sheer 100 charge attached to UMC's beam there. That's going to be Athletico. Again, a fight that they should win, but they, again, maintain an advantage.
The thing is, for Order, they still are just suffering from the loss of that earlier fight. Quats goes down super early again. The sound barrier must come through to protect the team against the self-destruct. However, a lot of damage manages to get past because there is no Rhine shield. And for Athletico, it's all about routing Order, getting the rest of the picks, cleaning up, getting more ult charge, and now potentially snowballing this next engagement. We're about to see now equalization for progress.
Saving grace for Order is Merit has come up on a Transcendence. They will need that when the shatter comes down, assuming it connects. Now Gob's going to be waiting for that angle. They can just wait for Order to commit here. Order is still a fair ways away from the ultimate.
Jordy's going to grab.
There's that commitment now. There's the shatter out. And nice timing on the Transcendence. Merit really paying that one off. But good catch on Yuki. Don't quite follow it up.
Watch Jornation.
Gob stays alive thanks to Money's Transcendence. And now here's the ultimate combo, Adam. Ooh, nice block out, and they did finish off the pilot form. Gob on his back, but there's
good counter
but a counter grab as well, so nicely placed. Self-destruct just for star points, doesn't get kills, but Jornation and co are routed. Athletico holding on, pushing 90%.
Order are starting to fall apart here. They had the lead. They are now getting really far behind. 90+% for Athletico. Gob's coming up to shatter again. This time Jornation cannot save the team. He doesn't have that miracle grab.
Yep. Adam had to get onto the point to force the overtime. This is now a 5 versus 6 at best for Order. Now with Quats on the edge, Hunter's low, Yuki picks. It's all over. Rover and Athletico will be evening up Lijiang Tower here.
We're starting to see now that's at 100%. Athletico get one on the board for Lijiang Tower, and this is going to do wonders for their own personal confidence. And now the questioning of doubt for Order starts to sink in. What happened? What are we doing wrong? We should be beating this team. We should be better than this team. They should not be allowed to get that 1 point against us.
Now we go to Gardens. This is an interesting one. I think if we are going to see any flexing out of either team here off that goats onto any kind of variation, it will be here on Gardens. And I still don't necessarily think we will see it. So I think this is one of those maps where the Lucio play ends up being that little bit more important. I would like to see Unter come alive a bit for Order.
We're about to see if now Athletico can get this map. They are in the possibility, they have the chance to actually get this one lead against Order in the semifinals. That would be an incredible lead to start with against a team that is so favored to beat you.
They again get that flat opening skirmish here right in the middle. Nice maneuvering by Adam to get a little bit of crossfire onto the bulk of Athletico, and that's a nice fire strike from Quats. Good amount of Gob's isolated. That's the wraparound. Adam able to confirm that one, and that's the numbers advantage as well. Now, even with Adam being low, they're still able to press this, force Athletico back. That's a nice bump.
Athletico gonna just lose that one quietly. Money going down late means a little bit more extra time wasted, but much like we saw on Night Market, the neutral fight, if they do lose this one, Athletico have to now go back into how can they recover? How can they swing things back around? Are Order going to make the same kind of mistakes? You'll see now from Order how they will respond to this as well, because they remember that Night Market fight where they probably should have won fight 2.
They don't have as much of an advantage this time either. I think it'll be the Transcendence from Merit that's really going to have to work for them. Athletico now making the approach again. Good surround onto God, just isolating that Reinhardt, and it makes it so easy to rout your opponent, especially in these tight corridors without the shield there. That's going to be a gong to ring out. Order are looking just that bit more comfortable now.
Full team wipe, all 6 members down, 0 members down on the side of Order. 4 ultimates, number 5 coming up soon from Adam, number 6 coming up from Unter right after that. Athletico is still waiting for their first ultimate of the game. This next fight is not looking pretty for Athletico, and Order have a lot of resources to use. They got deep pockets for this one.
Athletico are nearly there though, so if they can force some out of Order, they can set themselves up for an advantageous fight later. Better yet, if they can absorb these ultimates from Order and then counterattack, they could still win this.
And actually, Order need to go quick here. If they wait too long, they're going to be in trouble. Grav, Eden though, that's the big first mistake.
Not a great start. They've still got other things to lean on. God moving forward. Suddenly realizes, oh, there's a lot of damage that comes out of Jordation. Trying to get the pressure on. That's an early Transcendence from Money. Earthshatter is out. They haven't quite got the kills to follow it up, but they've found Turbo.
Athletico have ultimates.
That's just enough. Athletico have ultimates, but they lack numbers. Gob is down to Quads, and that is Athletico having to take that loss on the chin.
That's 80% now for Order. This one's starting to go a little bit more one-sided. If we do see it come back, it needs to start happening now for Athletico. They still have 2 very big ultimates to play with. These are 2 very big ultimates that can be counted on the other side. For Order, Unter and Merit both sitting on the support ultimates here. It's going to be a big game for USMC and Gob to see if they can land the perfect ults to swing this around.
Okay, there we go. They get Zol onto the point to force the overtime. Nice placement on the grab. USMC's down though. The Shatter is there, but they can't follow it up because they're still largely in the grab. And now they're fighting a little bit away from the point with a lot of members already dead. In Order, they've weathered the worst of it. They've managed to maneuver their way through that. Quat's getting the solo Shatter just to clear these few members off the point. And that is going to be Order with the 100-0 to lock down Lijiang Tower, start themselves off strong in their semi-final.
1-2 as well. Gotta have to say, you do have to give the credit over to Athletico, their ability to get that one round in that opening map. When you consider that this was a match that a lot of us have said, a lot of people out there have said it should be more one-sided than the semi that we just saw, Heist could not get that one round on that opening map versus the drop bears.
Yeah, that was actually quite impressive, I think, coming out from Athletico. Second round, it certainly seemed to achieve what Heist couldn't a little bit earlier on, but Jordan, that third round really was a bit of a whitewash, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think that, again, you know, in a metaphorical sense, was kind of like the Heist match for Order. It was the wake-up call. They sort of said, hey, we're the better team here. We're just going to absolutely knock you out of the park. You've gotten one off us, but that's basically all you're going to get. And I think that, again, was a bit of a statement from Order. So there was a bit of cheering, a bit of excitement out from Athletico, but I think it was quite short-lived in the end there, unfortunately not being able to do too much into that third round.
Look, certainly happy look looks on the faces of Athletico, and as we sort of touched on before for them, they were happy to be here, but now maybe, yeah, they didn't get the victory there on Control, but is there a world now, AVRL, where they go, hang on, maybe we're up to the challenge?
Well, that's the thing, because getting that one round says to them, we have the quality it takes to potentially get a win. Now, you have to repeat the success of that one round time and time and time again, so it's the consistency now that becomes the concern. Can they repeat that performance to actually get a map, or was that just a bit of a fluke?
I want to speak to the other side of this, though, and that is Order, because I'll be honest, my take on all of that, yeah, they got that one round in there, but I think Order actually just shook off the rust a little bit. That's kind of what this feels like. When you look at Gardens, you think that's probably the shape Order are going to be in for the rest of this series. So that's actually what Athletico have to be. Not what we saw out of Order on Night Market, not what we saw out of Order very first fight of Control Center.
Yeah.
It's all good play out of Athletico. Don't get me wrong. Those are deserved win situations, but they've still got to step it up if they want to take out peak Order.
Well, that is map 1 done and dusted. Let's go and take a look at what we are going to be playing next. Hollywood is the choice here for Athletico. Jordan, what are your thoughts?
Well, not a bad map, actually, for Athletico. They have a 100% win rate on it throughout the season, and for Order, they have actually dropped that map, which was, of course, to Heist. So there'll be a little bit in the back pocket here for Athletico. They're going to know maybe what they need to do, what they need to take advantage of when they're going up against Order. They've seen how Heist was able to get the better of them. Now they kind of need to add that to their own gameplay. Are they aware of what Order likes to run on the attacking side of Hollywood, being that Pharah Mercy combo? They do change things up a little bit, this Order roster. So it'll be a little interesting, I think, to see how this one does actually play out. That said, with all of that in mind, I still think it's probably a map here for Order. I do just think they're a much stronger roster.
Was it just a little bit of rust there? Because it isn't obviously like playing at home, right? It's not. It's not a matter of, okay, I've warmed up on my home PC, now I play another game. I go and play an official here for Contenders on my home PC. It's, I come to a venue, I warm up outside, I come back in, I set up again, I get another 15 minutes of warm. But it's not the same, right?
No, nowhere near it. And I mean, even then, look, Order, they've got that LAN experience. I actually think that's why shaking off the rust was as quick as it was. They've done this before. It is not the same, but they've at least, you know, been in this situation. They sit back down. You know, you get 2 stages in and you're like, this is what this feels like. Now it's 100-0.
Yeah, exactly. It's like getting back on the bike, but you do it ever so quickly because you, to be fair, never really left. Well, it's time for map number 2. We head across to Hollywood. Order versus Athletico. For me, gentlemen, if Athletico pick up a map, it's going to be here on Hollywood. What are your thoughts?
I think I might have to agree with you there, Ben. We do now see Athletico kind of getting into their own zone as well. But like I mentioned earlier, it's about consistency here, and they need to consistently win fights to actually take down Order in Hollywood.
You know what concerns me a lot here, Kevin? It's one word, spawn camp, and I put those 2 words together to make one. That's how the English language works. I think Athletico, like, they'll have some work cut out for them capping. This is also a map where we see a lot of spawn camping after that cap comes through, and we saw Athletico struggle in that situation earlier.
Athletico need to be able to rely on their veteran players here. They need to rely on the skill level of the guys that have been to LAN before, that have made top 4 before in this region, because that's how they can overcome Order. In every other case, though, when we look at the macro play, we look at the overall strategy, how they use the ults, Order have got Athletico's number.
Quads. Little bit of a lead in ult charge. It's negligible at this juncture. And Athletico is still considering how they're going to approach the point, taking their time.
It's about patience early on. Remember, we go back to Control Center. Atletico had that early lead in the neutral fight. We go back there now. What kind of early damage can we find? What kind of early positioning can we find? And Gob is already on half.
Yeah, the moment he gets healed up as well, he's dropped the shield for a 5 strike, takes some pain out of Jordation, who himself is now looking to move forward, starting to get some serious charge in the pocket, and this is where they want to push their advantage here, Order. That charge in the pocket is one thing they have going for them. Jordation takes some pain, and they do finally pop God. That's what they've been looking for this entire time. Got a little bit dicey, but they managed to confirm it, and now they get the route.
And you can see what Jordy can do with that 100 energy as well. Graviton Surge already up. Atletico, though, being routed here, 4 members down. USMC only at 63%, and for Order, finding that first pick is so important. In fact, it's important for both sides, but for Order now, they're able to read what are Atletico trying to do here. Who is exposed? It's Gob, well, he's going to get taken down.
And when you consider that was a largely even fight up until that route came through, and still Order lead in that little bit of ult charge. This was a potentially powerful placement. They do spot it out though. Still Order have an advantage, and that's a different placement of the grab.
I think they hit. That completely missed.
Yeah, expected Athletico to move further forward than they did. That's one less ultimate in the pocket for Order, and potentially advantage for Athletico.
And it's like that time we saw Zol eat the Graviton Surge away, but unlike that time, are we also now going to see Athletico actually win this fight? Because Watts has that shatter, and he does land it.
It's not a hot one though, because they can't get the follow-up, and now the counter shatter. There's a Transcendence there to steer them clear. Self-destruct. Nice catch on Hunter, and Athletico have officially tipped the scales. Quad's going to drop now, and this is all cleaning up, pressing the advantage. Zol's mech will be a casualty, but Order are donezo on the point. That's going to be the cap for Athletico.
We do see a lot of staggered kills here as well. It's going to make it difficult for Order to actually regroup properly. You'd say based on that, Athletico probably will get this cap, unlikely to see Order come back and return. But that was a very unfortunate fight. You do see now time and time again. This is not even the first time. They'll go back on Gardens. We see Jordation unfortunately not get that Graviton Surge. We see Order not win fights they are expected to win.
Very nicely done. I mean, Athletico knew the Order were looking to make a grab play. Order have now been able to move that further bit forward. USMC takes chunks, Gob takes too much pressure. And this is where Order can set up that deadly spawn camp.
Just like you said, those deadly 2 words as well. Athletico this time, though, have the resources. They have 3 ultimates, coming up on some more to actually try and break through. Jordy's now having the chance to try and redeem himself. Another Graviton Surge available, and the potential to combo that through with Adam's self-destruct.
There's a lot that Order, in losing that fight to the point, have actually come into this one with an ultimate advantage. Rally out there. Gob coming up on a shatter is going to be a really important ultimate to use.
Double support ultimates available for both teams, for both those players. 4 players, in fact, going to have to make a big difference here, big impacts.
I like the flank there, forced Adam into a tough situation, and he's throwing out the self-destruct, finds money, but goes down for his troubles. Transcendence is there from Merit, Shadow's nice, but because of the Transcendence, they can't get the follow-up. Athletico, though, spawn advantage, are still just muscling Order back, want to get the payload back in their possession.
And now eyes on Quads here, what can he do? Double support ultimates went down for Athletico. Hunter kept his sound barrier. This is where Order can just slightly outposition, slightly outmaneuver. That's the shadow finally down.
And they still don't really have Adam back, but they're happy to press the ultimate buttons, and it pays off. They had that one little bit of advantage in those support ultimates being down, like you said, for Athletico. Great read by Order to actually take a 5v6 for the win.
Now let's take a little bit of a break to have a look at where that card actually is. 2 minutes and 23, and it's not a whole lot of ways past this A point itself. We spent a long time here, and this is Order making up for that lost time after losing A fairly quick.
And Athletico finally coming up on some ultimates. Gob will have a shatter soon. Oh, Quat's on his back, but Gob's down already, man, and Quat survives. Now Jordation with a grab has the only ultimate that Order can really make plays off, and they still don't even need that, because you know what else Jordation has? 100 charge.
And this is where, for Order, they're just able to out-rotate, out-macro, ult-economy Athletico, who just do not get the same value. Order charging up these ults so quickly. Jordation onto his next Graviton Surge. We've already just seen him use one. This is where Order can continue holding at this choke.
Athletico, they really need to make some space here. Self-destruct does just that. Doesn't get kills, but like I said, all they want was space. God goes for shatter. Too far forward, though. Oh, able to follow that up. Nice timing from Exile. Back in the mech, just in the neck. Quads, though, shattered down. Not quite getting the follow-up. There they go. Jordation gets one through, but Gob trades 2 back. This is still not done. Zol out of the mech, but Gob still in this with 2 supports. Just barely behind him, but they've managed to press what little they have left. Order, the few members still in the mix, are able to muscle out Athletico once again. They got space, they got some payload movement, but they're still being spawn camped.
And in terms of pure mileage, this is as far as Athletico have pushed on this map so far, and yet they're still just barely getting on the spawn. Order do have to back up. They've lost members. Must wait for Jordation now, one of the key players for this lineup in this composition as well. Holding on to double support ultimates, they must now set up for a later phase on B. Where's the next fight going to be? Because Gob also has shatter, and he needs to look for his advantage.
Right, Order now back in full fighting force, ready to approach the payload once again. And once again, all Athletico have to work with is Gob's Earth Shatter, at least until Money has a Transcendence. Order have all the counters. They have all the tools they need. Oh, until Merit gets absolutely dunked on. That's going to be a nice timing on the sound barrier, preempting the Earth Shatter. But nonetheless, the follow-up is there. Athletico just have plenty of damage. And Order forced back. Athletico, finally having broken the spawn camp, are getting some serious momentum on their side.
And they're finally showing up on this map as well. They spent a long time not doing anything, just being pummeled more backwards and backwards. Now heading in towards the overtime, they must cap out B. They have to get that extra 130 to try and push into C. But I'm pretty sure Order don't want to let it go. Order seem like they want to come back for one last contest.
They do, and they've just barely got there in time as well. They don't have too much to work with, but it might just be enough. Self-destruct laid up from Zoe. That's a big one. Gets Quats. He had that shadow that Orders desperately needed. However, Jordation coming up on a grab. We've seen them take this 5v6 before. It's a risky one, but it's paying off. They're pumped off. Evie pumps a sound barrier as well as Money's Transcendence. That's a lot used here, and still bleeding members. Finally, they find Unser, but Jordation's got the charge. They're able to close out these kills, and Athletico, for all the layering of ultimates, for all the numbers advantage, Order are just out executing at every juncture.
I think Athletico are going to have to be happy with the amount of distance they actually got at the end of the day. You probably expected, based on the way they were being held in the early stages of B, Order were probably going to complete the defense then and there. Athletico did not seem like they had what it took to actually get past. But to get to the end of B wasn't quite a cap. Nearly count that one as a cap is something they can use on their own defense to try and mount something to get them a win. If they couldn't do that before, then you have a state where Order caps A, they basically have the map.
I mean, it's something, right? It's something to work with. I think, realistically, they're going to need to get a much better hold on A than what Order did, and Order themselves did get a decent one. About 2 minutes they burned off there. Even if they don't get a spawn camp, Athletico will need to be able to take multiple fights across the street space if they want to realistically have a shot of stopping Order short here.
What you do also see from Athletico is they haven't had the capability to win multiple fights in a row. I have to go back to the key word here. Consistency for me is how Athletico can win, but so far it's Order winning maybe 4 or 5 fights in a row. Athletico get one back, they get some distance finally, and then Order close that door very quickly. So Athletico just gets small bursts of momentum, small bursts of some progression, but not enough to actually get that win.
It's going to be a tall order, haha, for Athletico. I mean, speaking of Order, this will just be a scouting hard zone, make no mistake. Ana as well.
The other thing you need to see is Athletico, they need to be in a position where they can have a winning fight, and what I mean by that is they're actually in that lead. They actually have an ultimate advantage because when they have been winning, Athletico have been behind and Order have been making mistakes.
Surprising enough to say, but at any rate, moving now forward, Order really wasting no time here. Going to be that same situation as what we saw last phase. Just both teams brawling it out, but Order taking a lot more ground.
It's a big difference. You saw last time Order took ground as the defenders. This time they're taking ground as the attackers. Athletico just being pushed back.
They're also taking shots, though, and Athletico are actually leading in ult charge, but Thermo picks USMC as well, and it all falls apart for Athletico. Just when they were maybe in a decent spot, they had got some shots on Order, made them reconsider, but no Order. That's when they pressed the go button, when Athletico least expects it. Still cleaning up late kills here as the cap's coming through. That's ult charge, that's staggered deaths. That is a huge win for Order.
And it's a huge amount of initiative shown by Order as well. Time and time again, they're able to find that opening pick. They're able to push Athletico backwards, aggressively take ground away. Athletico a little bit too passive, a little bit too timid to take these fights, and Order are going to be rewarded with a super fast A cap, and they only need to get partway through towards that end of the B cap to finish the map.
Look at how many ultimates they're going to be coming up on. Athletico are now moving forward. They want to get a good fight here, set up a spawn camp of their own, but it's going to be very tough when you consider what Order have to work with. There's a nice placement on a grab. It's only really going to get Gob, but it still forced some ultimates out. Money's Transcendence to keep Gob alive, and Order have the deeper pockets.
Oh, here we go.
Forward, blocked out, and a huge shatter. They weren't able to follow up on it thanks to that self-destruct, but Athletico are running on dry without Evie and Termo, and immediately Gob dies without those healers there, without a sound barrier that could save him, or a rally for the extra health. No spawn camp for you, Athletico. Order going to keep it rolling.
And that's the thing, even when Order don't find critical success on some of the ult usages, neither are Athletico. And when the ults are dry, when it comes push to shove, Order are able to find important picks. Athletico just not getting much in return, if at all. Look at how close they're able to hold now. Athletico still regrouping, still not in a position to actually mount the proper defense.
They do have the ultimates for that defense, though, and that's the crucial thing. However, they still need to connect. They need to actually land these, and they've not always been able to do that. God moving forward. Takes some chunks.
Well, I mean, that was the opportunity. They couldn't find the shadow.
And it's been missed, and the crab got eaten. They do find Yuki nonetheless. Sandman out gob low. Still looking for that opportunity. Oh, dear. Already drilled down, and that's, again, the charge on Jornation. And Quats, his Earth Shatter just so much more effective. Gob also knew the moment he dropped the shield, the channel, the shatter, Jornation was going to drill him down with all that damage he does on the charge. That might just be the last hurrah for Athletico.
It's not going to be enough now. You're going to have to see Athletico just charging out through the gate. Anything they have remaining, they must use. Money might even have to transcend just to get through.
Oh, that's a disgusting placement and is going to stop anyone from getting to the point. Really clever play there from Order. That's the big brain stuff. There was a full 6 on Athletico. They did still have ultimates, but Order, they know their win conditions. They go, we don't need to win a fight. We just need to stop a fight from happening.
And this is where things are turning very heavily in Order's favor. Not that you ever really doubted them, but that one round on Lijiang gave you a bit of hope for Athletico. That hope is now somewhat extinguished.
Well, gents, as we bring this one back to the desk, it's very clear right now that Order are in fine form coming into this semi-final. Jordan, what do you take away so far?
Well, I don't think we expected any less really out of Order. In fact, the fact that they actually dropped around on Lijiang Tower was a little surprising to me. This is the Order that we expected to see. We knew that they were coming into this season and into this finals in particular with the self-belief that not only were they going to be able to beat Athletico, but really the real prize here for Order is actually the victory in the entire season, getting the better of Sydney Drop Bears. And to me, it feels like for Order, at least for themselves, mentally-wise, Athletico is more of a formality than anything else. Not that they're underestimating Athletico, but they know that they are such a far better team, and this is exactly going to show how strong Order is in comparison to Order.
Pixie, we came to this game and you mentioned the 1.5 words of spawn camp. It didn't start out that way. Athletico did a pretty good job on attack. They got onto point A, they got the objective, they got onto the payload, but that is where the story changed.
Oh, and that's the thing. I mean, it's the nature, the geography of Hollywood. You do have that opportunity to set up the spawn camp after the point has been capped. And that's been really critical in the GOATS meta. We've seen a big difference between teams that are able to do that and teams that aren't. Often when you aren't, you actually snowball quite a lot further through the street space than what you used to in most other metas. You don't get those like 2-3 kind of fight defenses in the streets phase on Hollywood. If you want to burn down the clock, you got to do it with the spawn camp. We saw the potential for Order to do it and for Athletico to struggle against it.
Yeah.
And it was exactly the same story on Hollywood.
Pixie, AVRL coming into this one, sorry. I suggested that if there was going to be a map that Athletico were going to pick up, it was going to be Hollywood, and clearly that was not the case. Are we now staring down the barrel of a quick 3-0?
And I think you're potentially, I think you basically are now, because for Hollywood, what I really wanted to see is a map completion for Athletico. Yes, you can lose, but if you can take us the time back and then show us your ability to actually push that kind of distance, then you have a lot more confidence going into maps 3 and potentially beyond. But currently, you just have a bit of a shutout. You have Order, like Jordan said, a bit of a formality.
I mean, that's exactly what we talked about after we saw Lijiang Tower, right? Like, Athletico need to match peak Order. This is peak Order. Athletico are not matching. And I think, like you said,
it's not week 2 Order, right?
Yeah, we'll probably see a quick 3-0 for that exact reason. Heartbreaking is that to say, and I don't want to call things too early. Maybe things turn around. Maybe Order, I don't know, they put the rust back on, but who knows? They're looking good.
We'll have to wait and see. Right now, we're going to go into a very quick break, give these teams a little bit of chance to regroup, reform, and come back. And we'll be back right after this quick break.